Anyway, joining us now is former Speaker of the House. Newt Gingrich is with us with just 40 days to go. Mr. Speaker, it's great to have you, sir.
Good to be with you. I have to say, by the way, I couldn't help but think when you went through holistically a couple times, the Trump campaign should probably issue a T-shirt that says "holistically stupid," and that would sort of capture the whole Kamala Harris campaign.
By the way, you better do that quick, because capitalism, as we know it, is going to be dead if she ever wins the White House. We're all in trouble. I know you have been extremely consistently confident that she will be exposed for the radicals that she is. I've been trying hard now for 2 months. I do believe it's beginning to enter the consciousness of the American people. But early voting has started, and I'm not sure everybody knows. And I think if they did know, they'd never vote for her. So I think that's part of the message. Why do you still remain so confident when the polls look so close?
Well, I think, first of all, that Trump in the last 2 elections actually outperformed the polls because the news media, the propaganda media, as I would call it, is so hostile that there are a number of people for Trump who won't say it. And he's consistently pulled ahead of the actual polls. Second, I do think if you look at the data, that it's beginning to sink in that she is, first of all, not telling us the truth, so it becomes a character issue. It's sinking in that when you ask people, were you better off, she's now has the worst support in the black community among black men of any Democratic candidate, at least since 1956. So even though you'd think she would have some ethnic appeal, young black males are saying, no, this ain't working. It's, I can't go to the grocery store. I can't buy gasoline. The city's unsafe. I now see illegal immigrants taking away my job. And you see a lot of this stuff going on. So I'm pretty confident that in the end, people are going to decide that 4 years of her on top of 4 years of Biden would both cripple the country permanently and would be a nightmare. And in a dangerous world where you have a war in Ukraine, you have a war between Israel and Hezbollah and Hamas and Iran, you have a threat of a war in Taiwan. Do you really believe she could be a commander-in-chief? And I think on that test, she just loses badly.
I remember I was the MC of your event at the Cobb Galleria in November 1994, the night you became Speaker. I saw you earlier in the day, and I got a chance to talk to you, and I said, how do you feel about your chances tonight? You were 100% confident. I think you came within 2 seats, if I'm not mistaken, of actually getting where this would end up. We're 40 days out of the election. We have a different election system now because people vote early. It seems that they vote in perpetuity. As we look at this night, 40 days outside of this election, where do you see this landing? And that would be for the presidency, the House, the Senate.
Well, let me say, first of all, it was Joe Gaylord who on September 17th, 1994, correctly predicted within 1 seat, literally exactly the seats we'd carry. We gained 1 more. None of us thought we could beat Rostenkowski in downtown Chicago, and we did. Let me also say that tomorrow, I'm thrilled that Congressman Todd Tiahrt has actually brought all of the people together again. It's the 30th anniversary of unveiling the contract with America, and we're going to celebrate it at the Capitol tomorrow with Speaker Johnson. So it's a very historic moment and one that I really look forward to. If I had to make a guess, and let me emphasize guess, because I'll tell you, I was in the White House election night 2020, and up until midnight, we were winning. And then all of a sudden, state after state quit counting votes. And I had a very deep, sick feeling that it was all going to be much harder than we thought it would be. So I would start and say, unless they can steal enough votes in Philadelphia to offset the African-American males they're going to lose, they're almost certainly going to lose Pennsylvania, partly because of fracking in the West, partly because people are just tired of it. I think that they're very likely to lose Georgia, North Carolina, Arizona. I just recently had dinner with the Nevada Chamber of Commerce, and virtually every one of them thought that Trump would carry Nevada. So now you come down to Michigan and Wisconsin. In Michigan, you've now had a Democratic mayor, a Muslim, announced publicly he was endorsing Trump because he thought that the Biden-Harris team was so dishonest and so incompetent that he just couldn't continue to support them. Those kind of breaks are happening all over the place. I think they're going to keep happening. You've had a former state Senate majority leader and a current state senator leave the Democratic Party in California. When you turn around state after state, you see an attrition towards us. Gallup came out the other day and said that we're now 3 points ahead on identity in a poll that they've done every 4 years, which has consistently been accurate. And I think Gallup believes that Trump will in fact win.
All right, we appreciate it. Speaker Newt Gingrich.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.